Hi, I'm Elizabeth Marie Hall, the main character from Elsewhere by Gabrielle Sevens. I'm 15 years old with long blonde hair, and I used to live on Earth, but now I live on a place called Elsewhere because I died. So I died in a car crash because I didn't look both ways. Yeah, I know, pretty stupid. Well, anyways, here in Elsewhere, it's pretty much the same as Earth, except instead of growing old, you grow young, and then you get reborn back on Earth when you're 7 days old. When I first arrived here on Elsewhere, I met this girl named Vandy. She died from a gunshot to the head. She was my best friend here, and she reminded me of my best friend back on Earth, Zoe. Also, I have a dog named Sadie. He's very adorable, and he also reminded my dog back on Earth named Lucy. I met my grandmother here as well, and ironically, she was younger than my mother. Still, she cared for me when I first arrived here, and even though I didn't appreciate her at first, I later realized how important she was in my life. And then I met Owen. At first, I thought he was a bad guy because he arrested me for contacting people back on Earth. But then after spending many nights together watching movies, we were practically lovers until his wife came. Even after he told me that he loved me, he still went after her, and she was 30-something, and I was 15, and he was 17. We were meant to be together, but he said that we could still be friends. Does it look like we'll be friends? I was totally heartbroken. And so I tried to forget about him and focus more on my job, which was telling animals that they died. Most didn't take it very well. But also, I went to the observation deck and looked through these binoculars and looked at my family and my best friend Zoe back on Earth. As for my personality, even though I am rude, paranoid, and irrational most of the time, if you stick with me long enough, you'll find out that I'm very kind at heart. At first, my goal was to return back to Earth. However, I realized my true goal was to live my life to its full potential here and Elsewhere. As I was living my life, I suddenly remembered that my father's birthday was coming up, and I had bought him a $150 sweater. And I thought, why shouldn't I give it to him? I thought I was going through a hard time with my death and all, but it was prohibited to contact people back on Earth, and I promised my grandmother that I wouldn't try to. However, my desire for my father's happiness was greater, and so I decided to go. It turned out it was a pretty good decision, because not only did my father receive the sweater, I also got to meet Owen because he was the one that captured me. The second hardest thing I had to decide was to either stay here and Elsewhere for another 14 years or go back to Earth early. If I left, I would be leaving my dear grandmother who cared so deeply about me, and the boy that I loved, and also my best friend. However, I was heartbroken and I felt unreasonable, and so I decided to leave early. Thank goodness it failed because I drowned. And Owen found me, and while rescuing me, I saw that the tattoo for his past wife was gone. And from that moment, I knew that his love was no longer for her, but for me and mine alone. In the past, I was very obsessed with the fact that I was dead and thought my life had no meaning. However, now I can see that there are many opportunities in the life I have now. And so my advice to you guys would be that life is short, so use your time wisely and enjoy it.